Stu Taylor here, and I'm delighted to have on Frank Callaghan. He's the president, CEO, and director of Barkerville Gold Mines Limited. It's on the TSX Venture Exchange. The symbol is BGM. Frank Callaghan, it's nice to see you again.
Good to see you again, Stu. How you doing?
I'm doing great, but I know you're doing great. You've got one hell of a story. I hope we can get away with that. If we can't, we'll cut it. But what a story you've got in British Columbia. It's revolutionized the whole area. Tell us about it.
Well, we got one mine in production. We started in production in September of 2010, one gold mine. And our second mine, we're hoping to have permit here sometime this week. And we're really quite excited about it. It's a deposit that we found back in 2000, and we've been working steadily on it for the last 11 years, and the permitting process in British Columbia is really quite a challenge, but we've overcome all of those hurdles, and we'll be digging this December.
Is it too premature to compare what the two sites will yield in comparison?
Well, we hope actually between the two sites that with the compliant ounces that we have, that we'll be able to do 50,000 ounces in the first full year of production with both sites going.
Pouring gold, pouring gold. You're having people come up there and you're seeing it. It's really it's an experience. It's more than just a mining event. It's an experience. You just exude. Talk about that.
I've seen lots of things in my career, but I'll tell you, when you can watch crushed rock go in one end and 3 days later it spits out a gold bar that's worth $500,000, there's not much more exciting than that.
And that process is continuing. How's the process gone for you? I know you've been traveling all over the world. What have been recent developments since the last conversation?
So since we spoke last, actually, it was getting this final permit up and running for the Bonanza Ledge. Now we're focusing on our third permit, which will be Cow Mountain. Actually, the grades have been so good, we're considering calling it Cash Cow, but it's really quite an exciting project. This was the old Caribou Gold Quartz mine. We're actually turning it into an open pit mine, and we're going to work on a new reserve calculation, which is underway by Mintech out of Tucson, Arizona. They're actually working on that right now.
How well are you financed? Are you able to carry both of these projects?
We certainly are. The production from the gold has been really quite good. The profit margin is really quite high, and we're cashed and we're doing great.
Well, you and I have known each other a long time. I have never seen you on a high like you've been on here for the past 6 months. I mean that in a figurative sense. I don't mean that in a literal sense, unless you can get a high on gold. But give us some of the numbers of where the stock is, market cap, outstanding shares.
Well, sure. There's 77 million shares issued and outstanding, fully diluted. There'd be 90 million. The stock high for the year, it's been a bit of a brutal year. We had as high as about $2.30. We're currently trading about $1, so it gives us about a $77 million market cap. It should be a lot higher. There's a reserve calculation that'll be coming out in the first quarter of 2012, which is, we haven't done one for the last 6 years, only because when you enter the permitting process in British Columbia, you go with what you have. So that, as I said, will be out in the first quarter. It's going to be quite an exciting number.
Help me here. I help Barkerville Gold Mines, which I know and I'm familiar with, and again, I want to say due diligence does not allow me to make a judgment or to recommend a purchase. But what do you say to people who are out there and saying, my head is swimming, I know a lot of these stocks are undervalued, I know this is a phenomenal success story, should I buy your company, should I buy another company? What's your response? Well,
first off, buy on misery. There's nothing wrong with that ever. All of the stocks are depressed. But, you know, the exploration companies, you know, we've been an exploration company now for the last 17 years on this project. So now going into production, the risk factor is definitely a lot lower than it was when we first started this quite some time ago. There's an awful lot of money that's gone into this project by ourselves and others. I'm going to suggest that the amount of money is well in excess of $100 million has been spent. So the risk is really an awful lot smaller than it was when we first started. Well, so I think it's very good value.
As I say, you have really been working this for a long time. Where do you see yourself in the short and the middle term? I'm not sure anybody can successfully talk about the long term, and I don't know how to define what the long term is. But in terms of a picture, you running this company and pulling all the sources, the capital and the human resources into it, can you give us kind of a step-by-step process that is kind of commensurate to what you've been talking about the growth of this company?
Well, now on a going forward basis, it's how many ounces can you get it up and define more ounces. The company's property is 40 miles long. It's about 10 miles wide. It's a whole gold belt. This is the first first gold discovery that was made after the California gold rush. This area where we're working is the reason that British Columbia joined Confederation and the railroad went west. At the turn of the century, this was the largest city west of Chicago and north of San Francisco. It had a population of some 10,000 people. So now to see 150 years later to watch this mine go into production is fantastic. So now it's all about developing ounces. And because of the size of the property, I think on a going forward basis, we've been working on probably an area less than 5% of the total property. And on a going forward basis, that I think there's going to be an awful lot more ounces that have been to be found.
Let me just toss this to you because I've got about 3,000 questions here. So let me say to you, what would you like to say as we have some concluding remarks here to potential investors?
You know, bet on management. Bet on management, proven management, bet in gold camps that are proven gold camps. Go where it's stable government, and it's pretty hard to lose with those factors. And when you got a gold price like we have today, it's pretty hard to lose.
You still see commodities going this way, the dollar going that way, the economy, let's talk about the U.S. economy heading south, but commodities going north?
You know, the whole world is in turmoil, so the U.S. dollar is probably the strongest currency that we have out there right now, and it's seen its lumps as on the way. The gold trend is seems to be heading higher. I'm not a gold bug by any means, but the trend is definitely looking in an upward fashion, and I think that that's the place to be is in gold.